Abu hey! Today I am back to recap the latest episode of Slaysian Royale Homecoming Queens. This episode was very emotional for me for many reasons. I'm sure you know why. The queens walk back into the workroom after Kitty Space's elimination, and Brigadine reveals that she also chose Kitty's lipstick. Bernie says this is the last time she will ever be in the bottom again. Siam calls out the PH girls for constantly taking the international queens out, but Arizona's like, remove your tinfoil hat. I eliminated her because she chose my lipstick. Yuha says she doesn't think there's any conspiracy, the PH girls are just that talented. And Kiana boldly states that she does think the international queens weren't ready, but she does think that Kitty deserved to stay over Bernie. Ouch. So it's a new week in the competition, and things are still tense regarding Kitty Space's elimination. Suki says they should be taking each elimination as an isolated case. Like, how much are they willing to fight for their place? What does their track record look like? Etc. Kiana brings up the point I made last week that Bernie said she saw all of the PH girls making the top 4 except for Kiana, but they barely touch on it before Mama Pow enters the workroom, disrupting that moment. And we don't really get a conclusion on it, although clearly Bernie was wrong. So for this week's mini challenge, the queens need to play a game called Spider Gay. They have 15 minutes to get into quick drag and balance on a beam, whilst trying to knock their opponents off with oversized paddles. Their outfits were so cute and campy, but it was giving me more jellyfish than spider. It comes down to Kiana vs Suki, PH vs International as always, but the win ends up going to Kiana. Her mini challenge winning streak is back. So for this week's maxi challenge, the queens will be participating in a makeover. In particular, they will be making over the backbone of the Filipino community, hardworking overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs. A little twist for this week is that the queens need to make over their subjects in pairs. Suki and Brigadine get an instant edit, with Suki saying not only is this her thing, she has a huge crush on Brigadine. Keep that in mind for later. As the winner of the mini challenge, Kiana gets to assign the OFWs to the queens. However, she also gets an additional power. She can choose one person from a pair to switch with the other. She takes Venus to be her partner and puts Siam with Yuha. Kiana really said, every chance I get, I'm putting the PH girls together. Bernie says she's really excited because she won her last makeover. Stop killing me with these edits. As the queens get to know their partners, Suki becomes emotional. She really connects with her OFW Mama Beverly. Her mum was also a single, hardworking mother. Kiana and Venus also connected with their partner as their parents were both OFWs as well. Kiana was often left as a child with her aunt, really missing her parents. That must have been really hard. I told you this episode was emotional and we aren't even close to being done. And Yuha says the concept of the OFW is very new to her. It's not new to me, I think I've told you guys this before, but my auntie is Filipina. She is from Bacolod, and for a while she was an OFW until my uncle married her and she became an Australian citizen. But she's told me stories of having to work hard internationally to send money back home to her parents. So on the main stage this evening, we have Mama Pow looking glorious in pink. And I mean, can we say goddess? She just looks so good. We also have extra special guest judges, captivating Kat Kat, the winner of Season 2, and Alyssa Edwards, the winner of Global All-Stars. One of the OFWs kept saying that she was a huge fan of Drag Race, and I was like, how lucky are you that you had Alyssa Edwards as the guest judge for that week? So category is Homecoming Gala Night, and I gave my top 2 to Suki Doll and Brigadine. I mean, they had the best garments by far. The design work was out of this world. They did a dance, they had a reveal and a storyline. This was a slaughter. So it's time for the judges' critiques, and they will be judged in pairs. First up is Kiana, Venus, and Mariah Ozawa, crediting drag looks here on Instagram. Alyssa says this was a spectacle from beginning to end. They loved the goofy presentation and how much fun Mariah Ozawa was having. And I think it was really clever to do a celebrity trio makeover. This is not done very often. And I mean, look at the transformation of their faces. Like, it was really hard for me to tell who Kiana was and who Venus was for a second. Next is Suki, Brigadine, and Beverlicious D. They say the looks were amazing, but it was the story that captivated them. Brigadine reveals that she brought the costumes and Suki did the accessorizing. Beverlicious gets emotional on stage, saying how proud she is of her 2 daughters. She says, heroes don't wear capes, they wear gowns. And it was such a sweet, heartwarming moment. You know, right before Beverlicious revealed that the D stands for Big Dirty Dick. Next is Arizona Brandy, Bernie, and Hermie. And Cat Cat says, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. But honestly, I quite like this look. As they mentioned, it was very Dynasty, it was very 80s. I immediately got the references. Hermie opens up on stage about how her employers told her that she was dirty and disgusting, and she wasn't even allowed to touch the baby that must have been theirs. It's just terrible to know that so many OFWs have been treated this way. And last but not least, we have Yuha, Siam, and Mehwa Pussy. Kat Kat said she loved the makeup, the culture, and the performance. Alyssa said it was like watching Cinderella with the two stepsisters. And Mama Pao says it was messy but memorable. And so the top two of the week are Suki Doll and Brigading, which I absolutely agree with. They were the clear standout. However, I don't really agree with the bottom two of the week, which was Arizona and Bernie. Personally, I would have put Siam and Yuha in the bottom. And honestly, they don't even have any real critiques as to why Arizona and Bernie were in the bottom. They didn't say they hated it. But in Untucked, Suki basically says they just weren't as good as the other pairs. Which again, I don't agree with because Siam and Yuha were right there. I guess it was a really tough week to judge. There's a really funny moment where Bernie's trying to plead her case to Suki and she cannot understand her due to the language barrier. But Brigading says she didn't really see Bernie put up much of a fight. And they did say earlier that showing a fire does play a part in whether you get to stay or not. What broke my heart is when Bernie said that she didn't think the judges even wanted her to be here, and I don't think that's true. I mean, they cast her. I think it's just that she hasn't shown that same star quality that she did in season 2. Back on the main stage, Suki and Brigading lip-sync to Room by Stell. This lip-sync was so good. It was sexy, there were synchronized moves, and that kiss. They enjoyed that a little too much, and so did I. Brigading ends up winning, and I agree. She gave some really powerful moves, leaping and splitting across the stage. But sadly, she reveals that she is sending Bernie home, the first PH queen to leave. And I think this is also the moment where they found out that Jiggly Caliente had passed away. It was so heartbreaking. You could see they were all struggling to keep it together. Mama Pow's voice was cracking. Cat Cat was crying. The queens on the stage were crying. And I just felt so bad for Bernie because it's never a good time to learn that tragic news, but it's sort of associated with her going home. And then she had to leave and didn't get the comfort of her sisters to mourn with her. I don't know why, that just really got to me. And her crying and pulling off her wig after she was eliminated, it just broke my heart. Because I love Bernie and I think that she is one of the most incredible queens, but her showing this time around was so different to her showing of season 2. And if you've only seen Bernie for the first time on Slaysian Royale, you're not getting a true depiction of her talent. And so, my friends, what did you think of this week's episode? It was very emotional, and we now have a PH queen that has been eliminated. It's a shame it had to be Bernie, but I didn't really see things getting better for her. Next week is the Snatch Game, and as always, give me all of your thoughts, and I'll be back very soon with another video.